Hello, fellow book readers. My name is John, and today we are going to do a review of Jade War by Fonda Lee. Last week I did a review of Jade City, which is the first book in the Greenbone Saga, so I'll link that down below. This is the second book in the Greenbone Saga. But before we begin, I do want to say I'm going to do a no spoiler section, and I'm going to do a spoiler section. So let's begin with the no spoiler section. So this book picks up about a year after the first book ends, and No Peak and the Mountain are still at war. So I'm just giving you a little backstory of how the first book ended. If you didn't read the first book, you probably shouldn't be watching this review, but you can check out the first book review down below. They're still at war, and the world is sort of getting larger. And that's what this book does really well. So my overall thoughts on this book is that I think this book is a 4-star book, just like the first book, but I slightly prefer this one to the first one. Now, they're both great. 4-star rating in my rating system is a great book that I enjoyed thoroughly and would reread any day of the week. So this book is great, and there's really nothing wrong with it. I love so much about this book. What this book does great is it expands the world. So, like I said, this series is about two clans fighting each other, right, for control of this city/country. And think the Godfather. It's the No Peak clan versus the Mountain clan, and they're like two families, two different families. Think like the mafia or the mob. And why it's a fantasy is because there's magic involved with Jade. You can wear Jade and have this sort of magical abilities when you wear it. And obviously the clan members of this family, they all have Jade. And you have to be from this country to really use Jade. If you're not from this country, the Jade reacts badly to your body and can kill you. So there's also that. Keep that in mind. But like I said, so the first book was like a microcosm of these clans. We got to see them really interpersonal fighting going on and how the war started, but it was all taking place on the island. The second book, we expand things. We learned so much about the world in the second book, and I love that. I love that we got to see more of the world in this book. It's a really strong direction that the author decided to take the series in, because she could have just focused the entire series on this island, right? But she decided to take it bigger, larger, and make it more macro. And there were definitely hints that was going to happen in the first book, but I'm glad that's where she went in the second book. On top of that, let's talk about the characters. So, if you remember from my first review, I really liked Shay and Hilo. I thought they were great characters. And they continue to be great in this book. But I was concerned about Andon, who I didn't really grow to like until the end of the book. And Biro, who we didn't get a lot of. I thought we were going to get more of. So, I just want to say that all 4 of those characters, they continue to be great. I thought Andon stepped up his game in this book. His arc is so great in this book. And Biro I thought we were going to get more of him in this book. We don't. We can still get the same amount we get him in the first book. She's still not showing us too much Biro, but the stuff we get of him in this book is really great. And then we get some more added point of view characters, like Wen becomes like a major point of view character in the second book. And she's awesome. Awesome arc in this book. Really great stuff with her. And we get a new point of view character, Mike Ken, who is the new Horn. And he's awesome. He's great. You don't get too many of his chapters, but they're really good chapters that you get. And we get a whole bunch of new side characters, and all of them don't feel like they were just forced into the book for more character sake. They feel naturally added into the series, and it really works. And our main antagonist, Ite, who is the pillar of the Mountain Clan, she's great in this book. You get more of her in this book. Really great antagonist. Like I said in the first book, I thought she was an amazing antagonist. She continues to be an amazing antagonist in this book. So character work wise, I think this book succeeds at an even higher level than the first book. Because like I said, the first book I thought had great character work, but there were some characters that I was concerned about. But doesn't end up being the case here. Okay, now let's talk about the plot a little bit. I thought this book was plotted methodically well. It wasn't like there was just a lot at one point, or just okay, here's the action here and that's it. It was very methodically paced, as in you get a lot of everything at different parts of the book. So it's not like everything's just at one point. It's you get stuff here in the beginning, and then you get stuff here in the middle, and then you get a big scene here in the end. And it felt like a 3-act play, but not in a bad way. In a way that was very methodically done. And everything sort of flowed together naturally. This book is longer than the first book, but I thought everything was paced really, really good. And that's because of the way she structured everything. I felt like she structured everything very methodically. And I'm going to keep using that word because I just think it describes the way she paced things to a point. Like, she couldn't have paced it any better than she paced it, in my opinion. But I say that to say why this book is 4 stars for me instead of 5, even though I loved everything about this book. I was waiting for that gigantic moment, and this book had plenty of big moments, plenty of big action scenes, but that like shock me moment, like she shocked me in the first book, and this book doesn't have that to the same level that the first book does. There are plenty of moments that shock me, but it doesn't have that one moment like the first book did. And I think it's pretty unfair of me to say that, not to say that, but to like have that expectation that she would have that again. But that's what I was kind of expecting at different points, and it never happened. To say that is not like a big deal. Like, it's just not. It's not a big deal at all because, like I said, this book is still plotted out very, very well. Like, in a very methodically way where everything is placed exactly where it should be. I didn't like read a section like, well, why didn't that happen earlier? Or like, why is that there? I was like, no, that fits there. There's a reason for that happening there. Yup, that makes sense there. It's all just very well done. It's very like methodically paced. It's not like a frantic rush to anything. I never felt like we had to rush things at different points. I thought everything was flowed very evenly because everything was built to in a very methodical way. So that's my thing on both the plot and the pacing. Thought both of those were excellent. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. This book is a middle book, and does it have middle book syndrome? Yes and no. It's very much a setup book. But there's enough that happens in this book where it doesn't feel like it just is filler. Like, there's no part of this that's filler at all. Is it setting up the last book? Yes. It does exist to, like, definitely save some stuff for the last book, but not in, like, an offensive way at all. Like, it's not, like, taking away from this book to throw stuff in the last book. It's just putting people in places where they need to be for the last book, and I think she does it in a way that makes sense and it doesn't feel forced. So yeah, it does have some middle book syndrome, but not in like a bad way at all. But I also am somebody, keep that in mind, I am somebody that loves setup books. Like, some of my favorite books in series are setup books, like Well of Ascension is my favorite Mistborn book. Prisoner of Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix are my favorite 2 Harry Potter books, and they're both setup books for the first arc and the second arc. Hair of Ire is my favorite Throne of Glass book. Pure setup book. It's the bridge book from arc 1 to arc 2. It's just a pure setup book. So I am definitely a setup book person. Like, I can keep going on, but I am definitely a setup book person. I love middle books. Just do. I don't know why, but for some reason they resonate with me. And that was the case here. So yeah, it does have some setup book syndrome. So if you're not a big fan of setup books, maybe there's some stuff here that might bother you. But I really don't think so, because like I said, nothing here feels forced, or like she's just like holding stuff off for the last book. It feels like she is putting people in the places they need to be for the last book, but not in like an offensive way that takes away from anything that's happening here. If that makes sense. The climax. Let's talk about the climax. Man, was that climax good. So good. I actually like this climax better than I liked the first book's climax. Oh, dude. This climax got me. Like, I was... The tension in this climax was so great. And I think she just did a really good job of, like, fooling the audience. Like, what she did here, I think could fool anybody. And, oh, dude, it was so good. So good. And let's talk about action. She continues to write action in a way that I think is easily accessible for everybody. Doesn't slow the narrative down, but also is very, like, detailed. So it is detailed, but not in a way that slows the narrative down or it feels elongated, like fluff. That's not the case here. I don't know how she does it. It's some of the best action I've ever seen written. She's just really, really talented writer. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this book. It's a 4-star read that expands the world, puts everybody where they need to be for the last book, but also tells its own story in a way that, like, doesn't feel like she's just pushing stuff off for the last book. And the characters all have their own arcs, and they all go through the ringer, and it all just works beautifully. It's a 4-star read. Like I said, for a lot of people, it's going to be a 5-star read. I just went in expecting something to happen that didn't happen. So for me, that almost unfairly affected the grading of the book. But 4-star book's still great, and I love it for that. With that being said, I do want to talk about some spoilers. So if you haven't read the book yet, now would be the time to click off of this review. Let's begin with how this book opens. It opens with the grandfather dying in his funeral. And I didn't expect that. I didn't know we were going to get a time jump. This book takes place over 5 years. And that's kind of jarring. Like, I didn't know that I would like something like that. But she pulls it off. And it feels seamless and really well done. And you get that right away in the beginning, where we open up the book and a year has passed already since the end of the first book, and we're at the grandfather's funeral. And it's like, what happened in between there? But we do learn some of the stuff that happened in between there through character retrospectives and their thoughts. But it's almost like we didn't need to. And I thought that was just a great opening. And then Andon gets sent to another country, like because he won't wear Jade. So they send him off to another country. And I was concerned about that when that happened. I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. Because I was already iffy on the Andon character in the first book. I liked the way it ended, so I was optimistic. And then that happened right in the beginning of the second book, where it's like, okay, we're sending you to a different country. You can't be around us anymore. I was like, how's that going to work? But no, it's so good. Now, don't get me wrong. It is slower than the rest of the book. What's going on where he is. It's definitely slower paced. But it really develops the world as a whole. So we get to see other cultures where he's at, how other people view the Kekanese, how they view Jade. We get introduced to way more characters, and we get the world war from his point of view almost. Because we're finding out why these other nations are fighting right now and causing a war over the Jade. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I thought it wrapped up in like a significantly great way with the ultimate sacrifice. But I'll get to that in a bit. Let's talk about relationships a little bit. Shay and Marrow, I think his name is the relationship she has in this book. Oh man, I really like those two together, and what they go through in this book is insane, and the decision that Shay has to make. It feels wrong, but it also feels like it's what she needs to do. Like, I don't blame her for doing it. And it comes to a heartbreaking conclusion where she ends up having to execute Marrow because he was he was basically held hostage and forced to let people into the Cal estate, and they killed the Horn by blowing up his car. Such an emotional moment, but also like so great and shocking in its own way. I loved Shay's arc in this book. Just loved it, front to back. I thought it was perfect. Like, I was rooting for them to stay together, and then when that happened and she made the decision that she had to kill him, which wasn't even really a decision, like, she had to do it. Oh, dude, it worked so well. But before that happened, they were already kind of growing apart because she realized she couldn't be with him even though she really loved him. They had such a good arc in this book. I really, really liked that arc. And the conclusion and the turns and the decisions that were made within that arc. Now let's get to Wen and Hilo. You get way more Wen in this book, and Wen is an awesome character. So good. And the way she counteracts Hilo, but also they don't feel like they're very like opposite personality wise, but they don't feel like they shouldn't be together. They do feel like they should be together regardless of that. And we find out what was in Lan's letter from his ex-wife in this novel. It ends up that Lan had a son with her. He didn't know about. So Hilo has to go and get that son. He tries to reason with his ex-wife. She won't listen, so he ends up having to execute her, which is crazy and feels wrong on so many levels. I was so mad when that happened. But it plays into the story. It's a mob story. Again, these are gray characters. They're not pure light protagonists. They're not good guys or bad guys. They're gray characters. And I thought that arc in particular showed that to us in such like a powerful way. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that. But we also get Wen wanting to be involved more in the clan here. And she ends up going to the island that Andon's in to help him do something. They have to kill this guy who had been working against No Peak. So they go there to kill him, and they're successful in that. And you think after that like tense scene, everything's okay. And then when they get to the docks and that climax happens where they execute the one guy with a crews. They're called crews. They're not part of the clans. They're not Jade warriors. They execute the one guy because they don't have Jade on them because they're in this city that doesn't allow Jade. They execute the one guy that's with Wen and Andon to help them kill the man they were trying to kill, who's working against No Peak. So they kill that one guy, and then they go to execute Andon and Wen, and they basically kill Wen, and while they're killing Andon, they get killed. No Peak has figured out what they were trying to do, and they had sent a call over to go save them, and they kill the people that are trying to execute Andon and Wen, and that's the climax. Like, Andon takes Jade again for the first time in 5 years. He grabs Jade and uses Jade to revive Wen, and we realize that Andon realizes in that moment that he has to go back to No Peak, and he can wear Jade. Jade has a meaning for him, but it's not for killing or fighting. It's for healing. And so good. Just so good. And the consequences of that, because Wen was working behind Hylo's back because she wanted to be involved in the clan, but Hylo didn't want her involved in the clan. And now she is like disabled because she had no brain function for like a minute or so while she was dead. So she's like permanently disabled in a way. The consequences of that are just... And that's how the book ends. The consequences of that are going to be severe in the next book. I just thought that end was like really perfect. It was just really well done. I did a poor job of explaining it, but man, I love that end. I hit it on everything. It brought Andon's arc like full circle in like a great way. Like I said, I loved Andon's arc in this book, and I loved Wen's arc in this book. And to combine them to form the climax was so good and so personal. And the ramifications that it has on Hylo, who is the pillar and the leader of the family, it's going to be devastating. And I just can't talk about that ending enough. It was so perfect. And let's talk about Ait a little bit in this book. Ait is just the personification of like bad, but not like... She's not evil. She's not like a dark lord or anything. She's another gray character, and if you were in her point of view, you would probably think she's doing things that are right. But we're not in her point of view, and every time she does something, you're like, oh, damn it. She always seems like she's one step ahead of the No Peak clan, and she's so powerful, and like nobody wants to step on her toes. Just such a great antagonist. I really love the way that her character was written. I've already talked about that, but just how the book ends with her and Shay talking at like the temple is so good. Like their conversation is so good, and after it, you're like, oh, dude, I cannot wait for her to die. I cannot wait for Ait to be defeated, and I have a feeling she will be defeated in the third book. I don't know till when. Like it probably won't happen until the end of the book, but man, was that so good. Okay, and finally, let's talk about Barrow, who I thought was going to be in this book way more than he was. He was the dude who said he killed Lan in the first book, but really he didn't, although he was the reason he died, so do with that what you will. In this book, he steals his Jade in the beginning of the book, and that was such a great scene. You're like, oh, dude, he's going to have so much action, so much fighting in this book. He's going to learn to use the Jade to be a man. Nope, that's not what happens. That's not what happens at all. He basically instantly gets the Jade stolen back away from him. And then he gets murdered, but somehow survives the murder. And then his partner, who he stole the Jade with, gets killed. And Barrow's just like a kind of a lost puppy. And you don't know what to do with him. He's just like, is he good? Is he bad? I don't know. I still don't know. And at the end of the book, he joins the clanless future movement, who's like wants to eradicate the clans. And who are like anti-Jade, which is funny because Barrow is very pro-Jade, and all he wanted to do in the first book and the beginning of the second book was get as much Jade as possible. His arc is very funny, but not like intentionally funny. Like I think it's like kind of ironic, in a way, and I thought it delivered very well in this book. So that is my thoughts on the arcs that happened in this book. Like I said, I went through them all, and I thought they all delivered in various ways. I just really, really, really appreciated the work she did in this book. And I thought it set up the last book in such a great way. I can't wait to read it. I will also be reviewing that book on this channel for sure. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This book was great. And as always, thanks for watching.